This is an interview for Peep magazine. The street artist known as Inch has dropped into the studio, one of the most prolific graffiti writers in the Northeast. We're here to talk about past, present, future. Let's get into it.
Off the title street artist and refer to myself as a graph writer. I would prefer that, and I think I sit more comfortably in that bracket, and it's more accurate.
Everyone has a name and something to identify themselves with, and giving yourself a sense of identification. Is that where Inch came from?
It's more about letters and having a short tag to write, because I fancy myself as a train painter, and you want a shorter tag, you know what I mean? You don't want to pick something with 10 letters, and you want something someone hasn't wrote. Initially, I was told me the idea was cinch. I got a batch of photos which I traded off someone, and there was an S through up and a cinch tag next to it on a tube, and I thought, all right, I'm not doing that. So just simply drop the S, you know what I mean? And then from then on, it's what you make of that identity, you know what I mean? You're starting on a level playing field. It's what you can do with that, how far you can take that, you know what I mean? And if you can't take it anywhere, just chop and change, go with something else. Or have several things on the go at the same time, you know?
Could you talk us through your kind of earliest memory of picking up that can, going out?
I've still got that same buzz. If it's to go out at night, it's exactly the same. It hasn't changed. And different times it means different things. I mean, I guess in its most basic form, it's a dopamine hit, like you would get off any other adrenaline-fueled thing. But it's mixed with creativity. Whether even that's the placement or how elaborate you do it, it's mixed with that, so it's very satisfying. Also, same time, it's frustrating, because you're trying to achieve perfection and notoriety in one sort of thing, and you just don't get it. You can't get it. By definition, you can never get that perfection, and it'll never be the same twice, even if you go out at the same time to the same location on repeated days. What you do would be different. Environmentally, it would be different. Your feeling would be different, you know. But yes, I've never been able to recapture that experience with any other sort of stuff. I don't really drink. It doesn't really get me anywhere near that. And I don't know why I'm comparing it to drink. I'm comparing it in terms of it's something someone else might find a buzz, and I find graffiti a buzz. But I can't recapture it any other way. And it's something that's been with me all my life, and all my adult life, and nothing comes close to it.
Did something click when you were watching something or you were listening to something? Did something click in your mind to think, yeah, I'm going to do this? And if it was that, was there someone else that you shared your passion with at first?
I never set out to get into graffiti. It wasn't like, this is popular, let's do this, and I just happened into it. It was just going on in my environment, and because I always used to draw, and it's done in a very public space, I noticed it. And actually what happened was, it would be the same in any, I come from a rural area, your local park, kids is the correct term, kids at that age, they'd painted it, but they'd left empty cans, so I just picked up the cans of paint and just added my initials on there, and they sort of come up to me. It was my initials backwards, actually. I thought I was being really clever. So I did my initials backwards with some of the paraphernalia I saw people doing on tags, and I thought, all right, it's got arrows, it's got a crown, and they put the date on. They all seemed important elements. So I did my initials backwards with an arrow, this, that and the other, and I thought, no one on God's earth will know this is me, you know what I mean? And lo and behold, the people who did the graffiti originally come up to me. I thought, oh, fucking hell, it's the big lads that are going to do me in here. And they thought my initials backwards spelt a crew that was through Newcastle. And they thought it was someone from that crew and I had something to do with that. And they were very keen to get me under their wing and sort of do some of this. And I just wasn't sure, you know, I just really wasn't sure. I'd happened into it and they'd found me, so to speak. And then the initial kid who was like, oh, blah, 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 I knew him through a mutual friend. And I don't know, he seemed a bit show-offy to me and I didn't really click with him. But his other mate was really on my level, and I thought if he got me into it, he showed me books. He didn't take me under my wing as such, but you learned the ropes together. It was a learning curve for everyone because you just seen it coming from the USA and you had no idea how to recreate that with car paint. Even the colour palette, like just owning a can of pink spray. If anyone had owned a can of pink spray in 1987, not that I'd saw anyone with one, it'd be like C-3PO amongst the Ewoks. I'd be on my knees praising. I'd be just like, this is the greatest thing ever. It was just the most innocent, and ignorance was bliss, which really was bliss because it was anything goes. You just found your way on your feet, you know what I mean? You just got amongst it.
I'm aware of the crew you hooked up with, like CK, Cruelly Kidnapping Aliens, TNS, DRS, DISM, Rape, Psycho. Could you maybe elaborate on that collective and your influence with them?
Sure, yeah. I mean, this is solely my perspective. I mean, originally I'm not from Newcastle as such, and most writers operating crews, and the crew I wrote before TNS was TBS, the Bomb Squad, kind of lifted off a Public Enemy record. That's their production squad. That TNS is my crew. I would be Prez, so to speak. Me are the only ones who would let people in and out, so to speak. It was formed, I guess, actually I can kind of pin it down, 91, I guess, because I wrote MBS with Moore previously to that, and he sadly passed away, or he'd stopped writing at that point and then passed away, and I formed my own crew. I wrote with a kid called Enemy, Smoke, a kid called Smoke and Game, and we would come through Newcastle and we'd meet up with people through here, and it was kind of a transition period when I got into it. I got into it in '87. There'd been some paintings done before, graffiti paintings, and there were literally paintings. They were largely in emotion, perhaps with an aerosol outline, and it was kind of a spin-off of I guess, breakdancing or hip-hop culture. That's an inverted commas sort of thing. So they would write words like break, and they'd come under like a crew, so the art crew were doing stuff, and CBS was doing stuff at Hewitt. And that's before the people you mentioned. It's not to say they're the first I saw. Basically, yes, you would just bump into the writers. There was a Hall of Fame at Hewitt, which was illegal, so you could bump into people there, just fellow people who'd seen you on the train, they were coming along. And then when you got to meet people, you got to meet people from Sunderland, and you got people from Newcastle. And then there was a writer's bench at Old Eldon Square, Hippie Green. I mean, that was loosely based. There was a good record shop there, and that factored into it, I guess. Hitsville, USA was there, so everyone would go there for their import 12 inches. And at that point, I guess it was all intertwined because people would go all Four Elements and hip hop and the bigger picture and DJing and all that. Well, graffiti, I would say, is possibly the only one that sits comfortably outside of that and predates all that hip hop banner, which I think was forced on by the media when it was moved over here, you know.
It's been said that the genesis of graffiti started in Philadelphia around 1971, being the originators of hand styles and the art form of graffiti. The likes of like Cornbread, Cool Duck, Cool Earl, Notorious B.K., the Cool Klepto Kid, just like to name a few. Were those the kind of names you were inspired with or want to be like?
Not initially, because I'd never heard of any of them. It wasn't until you did your homework and you looked at the history of it. Not that you specifically went out and studied it and looked at the history, but you'd buy books and you would see this, that and the other. They are largely cited and they are a big part of it, but there's a red herring amongst it all. It's absolutely 100% correct what you're saying, but I'd like to point this out. There's a Stevie Wonder album from 1966, or maybe 67, don't quote me, and behind him there's a fat cap tag, which predates any of that by 2 or 3 years. And not only does it predate it predates it and it shows it to be evolved via the use of a fat cap. And also, I don't know how much this factors in, I would also question the location. I don't know where Stevie Wonder's from, but I know he's a Motown, and that's a Detroit label.
But yeah, that's a cool bit of historical facts, eh?
It's 100% a fact. It's not open to interpretation. It's there on the record sleeve. Mm-hmm. You might like to cut to it. I can show you it on there. It predates anything what you just said. And that is the general consensus. People say that. In tandem, it evolved in New York on the subway, and simultaneously it was evolving in Philadelphia. And people often credit Philadelphia having a slight edge, i.e. being just that little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. New York, Bronx, they developed it a lot more. That's where they come into their own with the likes of Phase 2, Riff, and people like that. But yeah.
A landmark of photographic history was Subway Art by Martha Cooper and Henry Chalfant. Can you talk me through some of the feelings, memories, emotions you had when you first seen this book, or was it a massive inspiration to you a few years on, or could you talk me through it?
Everyone of my generation, it was a massive inspiration. You couldn't escape it. Yes, some might go, I saw Sprayton Art before, and that was a big influence. But you can't quantify how big a influence that had on people. And when you're seeing it, you literally, your mouth was open, your jaw dropped. You couldn't comprehend what it was. You're like, how does this happen? What is this? It looked like the most exotic, vibrant, dangerous youth movement you could imagine. You know. Nothing could be more appealing. You're just looking at that and going, I want to do that.
There's two pictures in the book that really stick out to me. They've always stuck in my head. It's Cliff and another one that kind of sticks in my mind is Scene.
I mean, yes, he's one of the really credible old school writers, and he'd be one of the few in there who would predate. I mean, the culture when that came out and that was photographed, it hit on the right period for all them people, but there was a whole generation before, and Cliff was part of that generation. You know, he'd sit more in with Phase 2, and there is a Phase 2 piece in there, albeit just as a footnote to show the history, and Cliff kind of sits in with that. But yeah, I'm trying to think if it's the same Cliff. I think he writes 3 Yard. I think he may have passed, and he used to write 3 Yard Boys, if my history on graffiti is correct. And he's often cited as doing some of the first characters and that. It's stuck in everyone's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He did such a legible style with such good characters, such, did a lot of whole cars, did a lot of end-to-ends. He would do theme pieces, he meant business. And he's a kind of, I don't know if you saw any of Lee's pieces in there, he's kind of, Lee would be a precursor to him as such, that he was doing very like block orientated, although Scene did do wild styles and semi-wild styles, but it was, as I was saying, that pulls in on the platform, you're getting that. People know what they saw, you know what I mean? If it comes in and it's a mad scene whole car with 2 Von Board characters and a big cloud, people definitely know what they've seen, you know what I mean? It's legible to them. It's block letters, it's screaming at them. And it's got the lure of cartoons, you know what I mean? Where you're like, it's Pink Panther, everyone knows that, so it's identifiable. It's not just some visual noise that's going by you, it's like, boom, it's high impact.
Can I ask, have you bought the book, or did you?
I never had it at the time, it wasn't later on. And I've got to make a confession, and Moore pinched it for me and I bought it off him.
It has been marked as one of the most nicked books in history, so that's the only reason I'm asking.
Yes, it has got that title, and I'm going to use a graffiti term, racked. That's what you use for Stone. Yes, it's the most racked book, yes. Much to the detriment of Thames and Hudson, the publishers.
Could you talk me through the evolution of Northeast street art?
Right, the graph scene. A lot of it was initially a group of friends doing a hip-hop based word, perhaps in emotion, so you might say break and then draw a pair of trainers with fat laces in. It was that, and it filtered up from London via New York, obviously. But then it soon got into tags and more about the individual and become a lot more aerosol based, and people upped the ante where they did it, you know what I mean? And then it I don't know, I'm going to say natural progression onto trains, I guess.
Another interesting point is from 3D. If anyone doesn't know who 3D is, it's Robert Del Naja from the other half of Massive Attack. He actually states that graffiti didn't actually start in London. Graffiti art obviously started in the US and then cut across the pond, but everyone says it's come from London, when he actually states it didn't. It actually started in Bristol, so he was one of the main innovators of graffiti writing, and he actually says it started in Bristol. There was nothing happening in London, and he actually got a call from Tim Westwood, who asked him to come down and do a couple of things for him for publicity. So,
no, it's an interesting point. It is, did he give a time frame of when he was doing that?
Late 80s.
I've painted in Bristol. I'm not familiar with the history of Bristol graffiti. I've seen pieces from 85, perhaps 84 by him, but it's largely. It might be a conformist narrative. It filtered up from London, and there was a couple of different things going on. But one of the first people to paint Ladbroke Grove would be Futura when he came over to tour from the Clash. I don't know how accurate it is. Like I pulled you on the American point with Philly. So the Futura thing might. It is accurate that he came over the Clash, and it is accurate that he painted down there. But there was the Artful Dodger was doing stuff early. There was a lot of people, because I wasn't there. I don't know, but the whole. I think Sunir's dad's quote is, "Never trust a man when he tells you how many beers he can drink or how many women he slept with." It's the same with graffiti. No one's going to, it's 11 a reef. No one's going to say, everyone winds back the years and say, I was painting since then, blah, 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 you know what I mean? It's bravado, you know what I mean? And then even if it's not bravado, someone's memory could be really hazy and they go, I'm not sure, I think we were doing it before them, you know what I mean? No one wants to just put their hand up and go, I'll come in middle ground and did that. Everyone wants to stake their claim, and if their claim is, I started then, and I'd be one of the first. I mean, I'm well aware I wasn't one of the first, you know what I mean? So that's not my pissing competition as such, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I personally don't know enough about Bristol graffiti. I don't know enough about London graffiti, but I'd know a little bit more about London graffiti. And I'd perhaps check online, I might later on, but he was early, you know, and he put in his work. I'm not trying to sort of take off him, but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't London, you know.
Yeah, like I said, don't quote us on it. It's just something I read.
Oh, no. Yeah.
You seem to undergo a process of transition with your own work. Thrapage magazine, fanzine, the greatest hits 1999, 2001. The Inch TNS website, which we've clarified you have nothing to do with. But
and that's not just a disclaimer for legal reasons. I don't think I'd even seen the said thing.
2015 Fog on the Tyne exhibition, all type no face. Imposters of Lives magazine.
Lives magazine, yes.
The Night Stalker book, and then 2030 Space is a Place. Could you maybe share some of your thought processes with all these fanzines and exhibitions, and where was this going? What was your inspirations?
Graffiti, I guess, early on it was all about the fanzines. It would be an extension of like the punk DIY ethic. It thrived in them sort of areas for ages. Pre-internet, used to trade photos. There's pen pal pages in Hip Hop Connection. Not that I put myself down for that. So it was all to do with that. Like I sort of deflected the term street artist earlier on, and certainly the street element of it. I guess I don't know why graffiti writers would make that distinction. I think graffiti writers is a bit more pure, but mine would be more down to like an autism thing, and I don't solely write on the street, so therefore I'm not a street artist. But yeah, I got dragged into some exhibitions, and that sounds perhaps a wrong phrase. I guess reluctant, you know what I mean? And reluctant to use the term artist, but I guess in its proper use, it is art, and to quote Andy Warhol, art is what you can get away with, and graffiti certainly is that, therefore it is art. Not that I need Andy Warhol to validate that, but yeah, it's art. Whether you like it or not, it's the most basic form of folk art, writing your name. The whole gallery thing, I don't know, I think it's a bit contrived, and I think it unnecessarily validates people that therefore they're in a gallery, they're an artist. And I don't think graffiti or graph's natural habitat is in a gallery, you know what I mean? It's like saying you're into animals and going to view it in a zoo, you know? It's not what it's about, or it's not what it's about for me. And I'd go further and make a distinction of saying that is a painting of graffiti and not actual graffiti. If I go out tonight, go on the train lines, go somewhere, paint, do a coloured thing, do an outline, do whatever, that is graph. That is graffiti. If someone asked me to come around here, I've got this studio wall, do you want to paint on there? That is a painting of graffiti. That is not graffiti. It doesn't capture the energy, doesn't capture what it's about. It's like saying I'm into animals and going to a zoo to view them. It's not the correct habitat for it. It's not the correct response. In the gallery, you can overanalyze it. Doing graffiti out in its natural environment as such, it's like an advertising for yourself or an advertisement for your crew. You'll go by it, and it's that instant impression you get. You've only got X amount of seconds to get your message across. And it might not be like a profound message, it's just a message of, I was here, I'm such and such, I painted this, I'm alive. That's the most basic, what you're saying, you know. And you've only got a few seconds when you go by that, boom, maximum impact. Whether it's you do something really stylised, whether you do something really big, whether you do something really colourful, or it's a placement of it. Or the combination of all of that and the repetition of that. That's what counts.
So were some of these fanzines, were you selling them around the northeast of England? Were they up and down the country, or were they just predominantly Newcastle? Or
interesting thing is, it didn't really sell in Newcastle. A lot of them went to Yorkshire and throughout the country. Very little of them sold in Newcastle. Yes, some of them did by my friends, but the writing community at large just didn't put their hands in their pockets for whatever reason. It's strange. I mean, that was something I was talking to you before coming on. The dangerous term of scene, in inverted commas, is there a one and what would it be? And just a lot of people doing graffiti doesn't warrant a scene. And I don't think there is.
Is the plan to do another fanzine, or have you got plans to do something else apart from having already done these?
Yeah, we've got plans for lots of different projects. The new one's BTK, Bomb Tag Kill. And if you bought the, well, if you're shrewd enough to know what the Night Stalker is, it's Richard Ramirez, where we draw a comparison to serial killers with graffiti writers. And obviously the Night Stalker, or Night Stalkers, plural, is TNS.
You're not a teenager anymore, and maybe you're looking for different avenues to keep your passion still alive.
I mean, in the most simplistic terms, all of that is this extension of getting up. Getting up is a bombing term. Getting up, getting over. It's about getting my chosen pseudonym out there. You know what I mean? That's ultimately
Bottom line,
yeah. Notoriety for the pseudonym you've chose, and respect from your peer group, which I guess is a teenage male subculture thing brought into adulthood.
Could we touch on who is your peer group?
Most directly, it's the people I paint with. Again, it's selfish. I want to impress myself. I want to do something I'm happy with. And when I say that, you're only as good as your last painting. So if I do a shit painting, I'm going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to ensure that I don't do that next time. It's show and prove, you know what I mean? If I do a piece there on your wall, however that turns out, that's as good as I can paint at that moment. That is the truest representation of me. It's very Darwinian graffiti, you know what I mean? I don't mean about beefs and actual brawls with individuals. I mean your tag. If you were writing Cliffy, and I was painting with you, as much as I go, it's Carney, I like him, I want people to look at my graph, I want people to talk about my graph, I want people to say mine's better than yours. It's exactly that, that's exactly what it is. It's an egotistical, anonymous pseudonym, and you want as much. This is if you go into the terminology I'm saying. I know you refer to as street man. If you go into the terminology graph writer, or doing graph, or graffiti artist, that's exactly what you want.
Have you yourself experienced any direct rivalry?
Constantly, the police, if you go out, police if they get a hold of you, you know what I mean? Yeah, back in the day, a lot of beef with people. Not me personally, but your crew runs into it. You've got to back up your homeboys, you know what I mean? You've got to, I'm not one for fighting, but you've got to like, oh, he's getting jumped on, I've got to fucking break this up, you know what I mean? I mean, if you're differently inclined, you're going in fucking fisticuffs and having it, you know what I mean? You've got to take a stand, you know what I mean? It's Lord of the Flies, people are pushing boundaries to see where they stand with you. It's play yard mob rules, you know what I mean? They're going to know, he's a pushover, and just fucking go over his graph, we'll rob him if we see him at the Hall of Fame. He's not worthy of painting here. You go into there, that's my spot. Don't come here, you're heating up my fucking spot, you know what I mean?
I heard off a friend of a friend that that's one of the reasons why you circled the inch so no one would come in between your...
It's not particularly, but I did it to stand out and it has the same effect, you know what I mean? It's like I did it on this space, and if I do that circle gives me some breathing space. Therefore, if you write in that, it's intrusive. Respect that area. This is kind of, if you do the piece and you do a cloud, that's my background. Don't write in me cloud. That's the background of my tag. That's clearing out the space around that, you know what I mean? focus on what's in the middle, and it's so you can see it at a glance, you'll know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You just see it and you go, yeah, I know what that is. I haven't seen it fully, but I caught a blurry sight of it on my peripheral, and I know what it is. I can identify it. It then becomes a logo. It becomes stronger. It becomes bigger than graffiti. It's a logo. Not that I intended to do that, but I think it edged more towards that, and I'd like to think it did become a logo.
Yeah, I mean, well, it is a logo, isn't it? I mean, it's you've kind of branded yourself.
Well, that's what you try to do, yeah. And I mean, you can be really expressive with the signature, you know. Some people go, oh, I like the coloured murals under the bridge with that tag in. Oh, that tag in. You don't do that? You don't know anyone does? Of course I know people who do that. It's part of the culture, you know what I mean? I mean, it has its own self-regulating rules where you go, well, I'm not going to write in someone's house, you know what I mean? An art form in itself. I'm not saying the tag was particularly artistic, but it's not mindless. There's a thought process behind it, you know what I mean? And you've developed that. You didn't start with that. You know, you do your tag, and previously I had another tag. I'd flip it over the top, so I had a semicircle. And when I took it to this tag, you know, you just go like that, and you go, continue that round, and there you have it, and you stick with it, and you make it your brand, your logo. Yeah.
There's a lot of younger people out there going out doing tags, doing graffiti art, who kind of put you on a pedestal, like look up to you, and when they see you out there, like that's interesting. Do you take the again, like the British mentality of, oh no, it's nothing, or do you get a sense of, do you feel like a sense of respect from the kids who come up to you in pubs and
places? It would make me feel comfortable, if anything, but I do have awareness that, you know, people pay homage to what's gone before them, you know what I mean, and they would identify. I think at one point my tag became bigger than just a tag, you know what I mean, and some of that didn't have, well, it had everything to do with me because I wrote it, but, you know, if I was to look at it objectively and go, you don't write that, look at graffiti, would you associate that with Newcastle? And I very definitely would, you know. I'd say that's part of the visual background appearance of Newcastle, you know what I mean? And it's graffiti. So therefore it's part of the graffiti in Newcastle. Whether other people interpret it as that, I do not know. No bravado, I'm just trying to look at it logically from outside of the thing. And in graffiti terms, I know straight up I was all city. That means I tagged everywhere around the metro line, or I had stuff everywhere. And I didn't just focus on that. I'd do it a street, I'd do rooftops in town, I'd do freight trains, I would do, you know, BR lines, everything. To argue, is he better than him? Is he the best? That's subjective. But that's fine. I could say I'm all city. And I could say in that period of time when I wrote that, it very definitely was there. Mm-hmm. You can't detract from that. That's definite. Mm-hmm. And if kids come up on that, I feel uncomfortable, especially on a night out, especially if it's in a noisy environment, because I'm going, sorry, I didn't hear that, pardon. And they might address you as your tag, and I'm like, oh, call me insert Christian name, you know what I mean? And they're going, oh, this, that, and as much as it's flattering, and it can or has previously happened, I'm uncomfortable with it. It's just, I mean, what do you say to someone who's drunk, going, I saw you on near the metro station? Which metro station? I did a few. I understand fandom. I understand how it works. And if I have achieved that, great. I can, part of me can appreciate that. Not that that's what I set out to do, not that I'm going to command that someone does that and go, hey, this Hall of Fame you went over me, do you know who I am? I've got none of that, you know what I mean? Just fucking get on with it, you know what I mean? That's some unnecessary trappings or inflated ego. I would look at it a very sort of literal way, you know.
I remember us chatting a while ago, and I can't remember the term you used now, but I think it was quite interesting how you were actually writing with another member of your crew. I don't know where, I don't know what, but he said something like jealous lines, jealous arrows?
Selfish arrows.
Selfish arrows.
Yes, and I just says, well, I'm not going to draw any arrows on your piece to draw attention to yours. Why would I? I mean, graffiti is selfish. It is egotistical. Even if that's not you as a person, your persona in that setting is that. That's like discussed if I was painting with you, you're my friend, blah, blah, blah. I want to get all the shine. I'm a greedy bastard. I want everyone to look at mine. And I'm going to design it in a way I think, oh, right, that's his game. He's done a cloud, eh? I'm doing a bigger cloud, you know what I mean? And that's how things evolve. That's how it doesn't stagnate. You know, if you didn't look at something, someone has done it big, you know what? I think I can add something to that, or I can do that better, or I can do it bigger. It'd be dead in the water, it wouldn't go nowhere. It wouldn't hold my interest, and wouldn't have really travelled anywhere, you know what
I mean? I'm not going to name the media outlets. We'll just class them as media, with articles such as Pinch Inch, Inch Taking a Mile, Pinch an Inch, a serial graffiti yob, The Pest, who has dubbed himself Inch. Another quote from a random media spokesman said, "We wish him well with the sales of his t-shirts, as it will give him more money to pay his fine when we catch him causing criminal damage to our property." What does Inch say? We've got Inch in the studio now. What does Inch say to those guys?
Not specifically their media, but all media. Fuck them. Fuck them. They don't serve any interest to the public. They're manipulative. They stretch the truth. They instill fear in people. It is propaganda wrapped up by the right-wing media. They're all owned by the same people. All the stories come in from the same point. It's not good, honest, neutral journalism in the interest of the public. It's a quiet day. They've singled someone out. The writing's on the wall for the graffiti artist. Crock of shit, mate. Fuck off with it. That's where we are with it.
Yeah, mate, if that's where you're at with it, say that's how it is.
I mean, the Red Tops were knee-jerky headlines to fucking, what do you think about that? Fuck it, oh, it's a disgrace. They know nothing about it. They know nothing about it.
They say graffiti is an entry-level crime. Peeps say it's a career path to expression. What do you say?
Oh, the broken window theory. I started graffiti in 1987. Surely I should have killed someone by now or be strung out on drugs. I'm not. So it's crock of shit. Straight up. Sorry to shoot that down. I know it's not your theory, but that's where we are.
No.
I mean, if I did some savage crime, would I be enthusiastically showing you photographs of it? You know, you wouldn't. The problem you find with graffiti is it just gets fucking scapegoated for everything. Come election time. And the reason why is, you can go in an alley. You go up an alley in Newcastle, there could have been 3 muggings, there could have been 2 rapes and a stabbing. No visual evidence of that. None whatsoever. Graffiti there is. And they use that to scare people. But it's a polar opposite. If you paint in some Hall of Fame, public aren't intimidated by it. They come up to you. They go, oh, I'm walking the dog. It looks great this, I'll check in on the way back. It's pure bullshit, pure scaremongery, pure hate-filled, just bullshit, straight up bullshit.
Yeah, mate. What is the future of Inch?
Future of graffiti is good, gonna keep doing it. I'm never going to stop painting. Simple as that. What that entails, I mean, yes, I haven't did anything I shouldn't for a good while. But, yeah. Why shouldn't I paint? Why can't I express myself in that fashion? Why shouldn't I keep painting? That was a rhetorical question. I wasn't asking for any insights on you, but yeah, it's like any other hobby. It's like any other fucking passion. You don't get to a certain age, you go, I'm stopping. Just because some people slated it, you don't go, oh, I've had a eureka moment. Such and such a paper says I'm a vandal. It's just names. It's bullshit.
Have you got any advice for, there might be kids listening to this, to be like yourself, aspiring to do graffiti art, and who they might be heading into university, they might be going to college, they want to make a bit of a name for themselves, who maybe looks up to you, a part of their life, looking for a bit of advice? Have you got anything to say?
It's that age old one. Just be yourself. Be yourself and express how you feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Be humble about what you're about and try. If you, it's like at school. Such and such has tried hard. That's all you can do. I mean, originality in its purest form is quite hard when you come into a culture 40 years down the line. You know what I mean? But style isn't exhaustible. Style is what you should focus on, you know what I mean? Subject matter, whether you go, oh well, he's used them three colours he's used. Of course someone's used them colours, don't get hung up on that. Just do your own thing and be yourself. It's like anything else, and try to satisfy yourself and not other people. I mean, yes, graffiti, you want infamy, or you want mutual respect, or you want people to go, fucking hell, that's great, but please yourself first, you know what I mean? And be true to yourself.
Inch, it's been really great having you here in the studio. It's been great chatting to you. Any final thoughts? Have you got anything you want to say?
Is this where I should thank God and like people? No, I've got nothing to say. Apart from thanks for having me do this. I really appreciate you give me the exposure. I hope people find it interesting.
For contributions, interviews, events, you can contact us at contact@peep-magazine.co.uk. Our latest Peep Magazine Escapism issue is now on sale via our website www.peep.ltd.